Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, and I'm the chairman of EST Group of Companies. I'm based at Cambridge Innovation Center, MIT Boston, and I have my other offices also. One is in Miami, then in Singapore, and in Latin America also. I'm at Peru and Uruguay. Then I have another office in Dubai. So a couple of offices, and we are trying to do a couple of things as per the requirement of our platform. And EST is basically an impact platform.
I love that. For those who don't know what an impact debt firm is, can you give me a little bit more insight?
So when I say it is an impact platform, it is really trying to do something to change lives of people. We have fintech operations. So we have a Neobank in India called BranchX, wherein we are trying to create financial inclusion. So we are working with that agenda. That Neobank is catering to migrant labor from rural areas to urban areas, wherein they come for their uh, earning money and earning their bread. So they don't have any banking facilities. So we provide banking facilities to them so that they can even send money back to their home and all that. So that is what the financial inclusion aspect is. And the same agenda continues with our other verticals like agritech, EST Agrex. It is the basic agenda is again here to transform the rural economy and agriculture. We are not focusing on agriculture just as an occupation, but we are treating it as a tool for rural transformation. And rural transformation should come when there is capital creation in rural areas. So that's the whole agenda. And later on, I can uh, give a more detailed version of this, what we mean by rural capitalism and all that. And the third vertical we have is EST Healthcare. Again, it is catered to providing diagnostic facilities and medical facilities in rural areas. So we have a patented kiosk. It has telemedicine facility. It has diagnostic facility where different tests can be done, and it has automatic pill dispenser system, so you can get your medicines. And we are using robotic IoT devices, AI for all this operation.
Incredible.
And then again, we are focusing more in underdeveloped areas where there is no healthcare facilities or services. So again, this is a case of impact creation, that with the latest technology, how you can create an impact which can change the health care and for different facilities in rural areas or underdeveloped areas or locked areas where there is no such facility. Then we have this edtech program wherein we are creating digital knowledge empowerment of students. So we create centers of excellence in different universities, and we have nearly 35 chapters globally. And we provide different types of resources to students. We create global webinars, and students are invited to attend it so that they can broaden their horizon. And different countries, different chapters, they create their own hackathon and different mentoring sessions. And also we are available for all those things. Even we provide virtual internship to students. If they require, our developers assist them in developing their codes and other thing if there is any startup. And recently we have started a carbon zero product, ESTC Net Zero in Singapore, wherein we are advanced talks with Deep Tech Singapore to be partner in that also. And that is again trying to, the basic agenda is to create capital to rural areas, especially farmers, by way of carbon sequestration, the carbon that is found in farms that can be converted to credit, cash for those farmers, which can augment their income as well as it can create a zero carbon situation. So this is a huge ecosystem wherein different verticals are trying to create different levels of impact. And All these verticals are also the horizontals. So they are disintermediating outsiders, intermediating ourselves, and creating multiple transactional points. So it has a captive economy model also.
I have so many questions for you. The first is, how do you measure impact across all of these organizations?
Of course, there is no, I should say, yardstick right now that we are using. What we are seeing, that how many persons and how many subscribers or users we are able to uh, connect to, and how they are using our different facilities. That is the level of success. Like in our Neobank, we started in 2022. This is 2025, and we have 9.8 million subscriber base. So that is the success level which I am looking at. Measuring that, okay, there are like, yes, numbers are the measuring, I should say, tape for us, that okay, this much is the extent of the impact that we have created. Because, and moreover, how many are active members? Just collecting number of members is not that important. How many active members are there who are using the platform? So that is more important.
And then for the agritech, for the carbon vertical that you have,
Yeah.
the metric that you would be tracking there is how much capital you are able to help a rural farmer produce by, sequestering the carbon from the land that they have stewardship over,
Right.
right? It's about capital creation.
Yes. So
How
of course that carbon zero is right in the, I should say, the infant stage.
Mm,
We have just started.
yeah,
So I can discuss more at a later date.
sure.
But in agritech, parts of agritech, I can explain it to you that just for creating more focus and creating more uh, a different and varied agenda in agriculture, and making it more realistic towards creation of rural economy and rural capital, we, in our architect vertical, we have created three segments. One, first is farmers as producers of crop. In that, all the latest technology is being used to assist farmers in growing their crops, like measurement of land, measurement of like drone facility for measurement of land, insecticide, pesticide spray, all those things. A smart irrigation system, lending facility. So we have this Neobank that is getting connected to these apps. So loan is available. We are creating full database of all the farmers who are onboarding. Even the suppliers are onboarded, so that whatever lending facility we are providing to the farmers, they can go to the registered providers of, say, foundation seeds, breeder seeds, insecticides, pesticides, so that they are not cheated and they have reliable and a real thing. Then the second stage is farmer as seller of crop. So once the crop is harvested, they should be having good market where they can go. That, no, market is available everywhere, but how it can be a more, say, capital intensive market for them, so that they can have better return. So we have created different types of market through our app only, like P2P, local market, national market, international market, even barter system we have created. Now in barter system, we are not asking them that, okay, you sell your rice and get cash. So if you need to buy a ticket, a railway ticket, you just sell your rice and we give you the ticket. So we are trying to make it easy for them.
I love that.
Then different type of logistic providers, transporters, all are connected, so that they can see that, supposing if they have to go from point A to point B, how many transporters are available, what are different facilities they are giving, when they should expect their packet to reach the other center. All those things they can see from the list there itself. Moreover, the different markets give them different pricing models. Okay, the local market has, say, for tomatoes, it is 10 bucks. If they go slightly ahead of the local market, not national market, but there the pricing is around 15. If they go to the capital market, then it is 25 bucks, like that. So they can choose and they can themselves decide which market to go to, what are the logistic providers or which are the transporters which will assist them. And on the basis of all this, the whole emphasis again is on the capital creation, more capital in hands of these farmers. Now, once you are creating capital and more profitability, more money in the hands of farmers, if it is not rotated, it will become idle capital. So stage three is there, wherein we have created a model of rural stock exchange. In that rural stock exchange, of course, it is very like I have not implemented it in any center because they have to reach that stage. So in a rural stock exchange, what we are doing, because every government is giving subsidy, different supports to different farmers. So extra capital can be used in buying or investing in government schemes through these rural exchanges. So what happens? The net result is that whatever money comes from government, especially in developing countries and underdeveloped countries, whatever money comes from government to these farmers and which creates a big budgetary deficit, that gap can be removed when money goes back to government. So whatever they give, it again goes back to government in a different form, and that also takes care of all the loans and other things that government or financial institutions are giving to different farmers. Even what we have created now, we are trying to work on another aspect, that is whatever loans we are giving to farmers, we are trying to compress it into a bond and to sell it to different HNIs for say 5 years, 7 years
Sure.
at a say 10% coupon rate. Net result of that, yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. So, I am a primordial debt theorist, and so capital markets and independent lending institutions and interest-bearing loans, all of those things seem like they were created out of the inefficiencies of markets, and that capitalism ultimately was an excellent tool to get us to the point where we are today, but that it may not be the thing that gets our civilization to the next level where we've optimized the mechanism of distribution of the resources that we've managed to create. And so I'm curious if you think that we are due for a dramatic shift in the way that economics functions in our society. Money, most people, they know that money is not real. It's a promissory note, and most governments don't base their money off of gold anymore, especially since the 70s. So I'm curious, from your perspective, is there going to be an emerging new economic realm of thought that we're going to experience in this generation, where all of this talk about acquiring profit and getting margin and building businesses and competing, where that might go away? What are your thoughts on kind of the future of economics, just based off of like the anthropological record of how things have happened throughout human civilization? What are your thoughts there?
That's a fantastic question. But we have to remember one thing. Whatever we are talking of, all these theories and different perspectives of development, even the form of money and all, that is localized to the urban centers. The rural centers and the developed, underdeveloped countries, they have still to come to a certain level to feel all these changes and transformations, or even the concept of money. So, the basic agenda from my side is that I am realizing that many things are shifting and all the boundaries are shifting now because we are talking of Web 3, Web 4, and all those things. So, we are shifting the boundaries, but I have to bring people to a certain point so that they can then take a leap. Right now, you have to prepare people to take that leap. In urban areas, maybe you can do such things, but in rural areas, still they are languishing. So the whole agenda is, when I talked of edtech, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create digital knowledge awareness. So that is where the Like the present generation will not be able to do it, but the new generation, say the youngsters, they will be able to adopt and adapt to the new technology, and the percolation will be from urban areas to rural areas of the new technology. And that is how the adoption and adaptation will happen. And when we are talking of like without silos, different boundaries, then there are moreover there are no boundaries. So how
So
you
the
are
so the underlying assumption in the approach that you're taking, especially with the rural farmers, is that they, um, because of education and because of the lack of established markets that are within reach around them, that there's a way that you can help them better capitalize the assets that they have, which allow them to participate in the overall global economy. And that by allowing them to participate in a greater way, that is going to unlock a new generation of economic development and collaboration. Is that kind of the underlying thesis?
exactly, because
Interesting.
right now there is a big divide between urban and rural areas. So when you are trying to create a rural economy, what will happen? There will be two say contributing points to the national economy. So what will happen? There is no rural economy is no more an appendix to the urban economy, but it is itself a contributory economy. So what will happen? Both the sides will start merging, and that is where the transformation will happen, and that is where the technology will flow from one say urban centers to rural centers, because you have to have that education, you have to have that level of knowledge of technology to adopt and adapt. There is a lot of cultural fear. People are not willing to adopt new technology in certain areas because they don't have the idea. So all these things are the whole focus of my effort is to create that welcome situation in those areas for the new technology so that it can be adopted fully and then it can seamlessly merge with the new technology which is prevailing in urban centers. Right now, we have the same situation. Like for economy, we had haves and have-nots. So for technology, we have the same situation, haves and have-nots.
Hmm. There needs to be a democratization of technology access from urban to rural
Exactly.
areas in order for it to be successful. That makes sense. Um, we rarely get the opportunity to talk on these types of subjects on podcasts, and so I'm gonna shift gears a little bit to a little bit more of the spiritual side. You've obviously
Okay.
got a lot of projects cooking. You got a lot of deep thinking and massive undertakings that you've focused your energy around. And I'm curious, you have this drive and this determination, and you seem very happy. You seem like you have a very focused mission, and that your soul is in this project. And so I'm curious. This is the question that I ask everybody. But what is your secret to a good life?
Well, secret to good life always keeps on changing from person to person. And it all, I think it is their inner desire of what they want from their life. That gives them the ultimate happiness. And that is where their uh, they try to set their goalpost. So ultimately, it is your own internal well being and inner self which is guiding you to that good state or say eternal state of mind wherein you try to do certain things and try to seek happiness in certain activities.
Can you tell me a story from your life where you were able to find that inner voice?
Well, I can only say this thing that the way we grew up, the way we got our foundation since our childhood, and the way our father treated us and uh, made us start our journey with cultural ideas and religious ideas and uh, humanitarian ideas. Those based germination of those ideas in during the course of our growing up really mattered for us, and created our personality. And whatever you are seeing today, whatever I'm talking, whatever I'm trying to create is the net result of that. Because, like, I will just give you an example. My father was so particular about it that he never wasted his time in going to club and like enjoying himself. Rather, he gave all that time to us so that we could develop in a much better manner. So he used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning with us and made us read all the religious scriptures, like Hindu scriptures, Christian, like Bible, like you talk of say a red book, even Quran, all those things, just 5 minutes, so that we can have a broad-based vision of society, broad-based vision of life, and that feeling of humanity and humanism, which should be the deciding factor in our actions in life. And that is when I'm talking of impact. I'm reflecting those thoughts which I collected in our infancy, whatever my father passed on by making us go through that phase of our life when he devoted all his time with us, trying to create our personality and giving us free hand to go through everything and pick out the best things so that we can further on those things. So I think that is a very, very constructive phase of our life. And whatever I am doing, I always keep it in mind that this is how we have been ingrained from beginning, and this is how I have to uh, become, and this is how I should be till the last day of my life.
Is there a particular excerpt of the religious text that you read that has stuck with you to this day? For myself, I've read I was born and raised Mormon. I talk about it a lot on the show.
Mhm.
I was born and raised Mormon, so we read the Book of Mormon. We read the Doctrine and Covenants, which were written by Joseph Smith and later prophets. We read the Bible. I read the
Mhm.
Nag Hammadi, the Bhagavad
Mhm.
Gita,
Mhm.
the Quran, the
Mhm.
Vedas as well.
Yeah.
And my favorites of them are the Vedic scriptures, with definitely, but the the scripture for me that comes to mind is, I believe that it comes from the book of Timothy, but the second Timothy, but I'm gonna have to look that up. And it says that God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And I don't necessarily believe in like a man god, right? I kind of believe in the more Judeo-Buddhist sense of God, right?
Mhm.
This conceptual map of reality,
Yeah.
this overarching thing that is everything around us, karma, maybe as I might call it.
Yeah.
And so that scripture originally it came from a Christian background, right, from the New Testament. But now that I've rounded out my religious scope, I see that scripture as a decision-making tool for myself. God hath not given us, right, this universe, this essence that makes up everything, hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So literally for me, if I feel fear when I'm making a decision, I will not make a decision. I need power, love, and a sound mind. That's what I have to look for. I have to meditate my way into that feeling, and then I can make decisions. So for me, that scripture is particularly relevant. Is there an excerpt from the religious text that you read as a kid growing up with your father that has profound meaning and that has stuck with you to this day?
Yeah. See, every scripture, every religious book has the same philosophy of goodness. Whenever they talk of the real hero, say prophet or son of God or God, whatever we call it, it is a superior power that is giving us certain vision and giving us certain ideas that how we should develop our own self to get that power so that we can feel the same way and we can just become one with the nature and force of nature. So uh, again, I will say for me, all books, all religion, they have all those good points. Everyone is talking of the same good points that we have to follow like that. For me, I take pride in that. Okay, I must develop myself so that I should know what I am doing and what I should not do. And that power can be created by only meditating and thinking about the acts which can be accepted by nature or repulsed by nature. So that is what we can do in this stage, in this creativity of human beings. So for me, even if I am worshipping, for me it is just a mental exercise. Of course, I am practicing Hindu, and I am very open. So
Sure.
I do my prayers also. But for me, it is like I am toning my brain so that I can quickly try to uh, read through things. My mind should be so active and so trained that it can make out what is good and what is bad for my action and my acts. And that will create the power for me, and more of positive power will make me merge with the natural power of this nature.
Hmm.
So I have this type of philosophy, and that is why I have very good friends from every religion, and I'm like an open book with them, and we have fantastic cooperation with each
Sure.
other.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. I have a good friend of mine named Sanjay who is building a type 1 civilization city here in Texas. I think he's raised about $500 million to build it, I think in Tyler, Texas, but he's building like a giant temple city. It's amazing. So I met him at a and he was doing his Hare Krishna prayers with his beads in his hand at the time, and he had a little thing on his finger, and he would every time that he prayed, it was basically like a step counter, and he would tap it, so he knew how many prayers he would do during the day, and it was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
something. He didn't bring a lot of attention to it, right? It was just for him to look at the end of the day, but it was powerful for me.
yeah.
Dr. Bhaskar, where can everyone find you? Where can everyone get involved with what you're doing?
No, I'm available everywhere. Of course, not like God, but
Is there a
at my
specific
office.
place that people can find you? A LinkedIn website?
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn, and I'm not very much on every social media. So I'm on LinkedIn, where I'm mostly active. I'm not on Insta or Facebook. I am on this, what do you call it, Telegram and all, but there is all useless talks, much of useless talks, so many rubbish things. So not very fond of it. It is only means to communicate and no chatting and all that. And moreover, since I keep moving, traveling to different places, to my different offices. So right now I'm in Dubai. Tomorrow, next month, I'll be in Singapore. Then I will be in Europe. Then back to US. So things like that.
Okay, yeah, we'll
But
put
my
the
number is always available and always open, so one can communicate with me anytime.
great. We'll put all the links to your LinkedIn and everything inside of the show notes for today. Thank you
Sure.
so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me, and very interesting talk. Hope it made sense.
This has been the Pulse Ox podcast. Please, if you found this episode valuable, give us a like on Spotify and share it with a friend.